How many people, this is the first time you've ever taken the assessment, the Gallup? Okay. How many, so the rest of you have taken it. How many of you have had coaching? Okay. So those of you that have taken it but not been coached, then I'm going to go through, because we've got some of both categories, we're going to go through kind of the background, or not the background, but what Gallup is and what they're doing, so that we're all in the kind of the same place when we start talking about talent themes and Gallup strengths. So like Nate said, I started doing this in 2002. Some of you probably know Joe Kavanaugh, but Joe, we were in a group of couples, and we would get together monthly and get together, and Joe would always have a new something for us to take. So there was a marriage one, there was a business one, there was a prophetic one. I mean, just all these things, and so they're really fun. And then he did this one because he was taking some classes and knew about this. And as soon as I took my assessment, I took out my paper and I walked into Linda and I said, "This isn't any good." I said, "It's not me." And she read it and she said, "Oh, I've never heard anybody so succinctly describe you." Really? I didn't know whether to cry or be happy. Because my top talent themes are, I have achiever, so I'm going to get it done. I am going to finish it. That's it, okay? Then I have focus. So once I get focused on something, everything else disappears. So when I'm on the phone, I'm on the phone. I'm not on the phone doing something else. I'm focused, right? Drives somebody I live with crazy? That's not my problem. Okay? Then I have responsibility. Responsibility is, okay, that's an integrity talent theme. If I say I'm going to get it done, it's going to be done. It's a trust thing. If I can't trust the person or the organization, I'm gone pretty fast. Then I have analytical. So that's the prove it talent theme. Nobody in here has that in their top 5 except me today. So I'll be your thorn in your balloon, because I'll be asking you the why question. Why? Okay? Then I have discipline. Nobody in this group has discipline in their top 5. That's not uncommon for me to be the only one with those two combination. So with discipline, I take chaos and try to make order. I should then figure out, when we make order, this is the way we do it. We have a standard operating procedure, and we don't change it, or I don't change it, unless it's broken. So people with strategic come to me and say, "Let's just try it. So differently." Nope. It's not broken. "Well, let's just try it." Nope. Prove it. Okay. So you see where I start bumping people, or they bump me, and that's what's happening with everybody's talent themes. So that's who I am. Then I've been doing, I handed Linda handed hers to me and said, "Here's mine." And I thought, oh, now I know why when we go to a wedding reception, she's never with me. Because she has woo number 1, winning others over. So she's out there working the field, man, working the country. She loves it. But I was so upset because where is she? She's not here. Why isn't she around me? She must not like me. So, right down in the basement, right? So that's how we can misunderstand each other. So that was a cause of some conflicts during the time. So that's a little bit about me, and that's how Linda and I started off. Now we've been doing this together, coaching together and doing this. Now, one of the things with the strengths and talent themes that is really important is self-awareness. Most people are not self-aware. And this is one of the big parts of this whole process, in my opinion. Because if you're not self-aware, you don't know who the people are that are around you, right? they either should be like me or I should be like them. And then we start looking at other people. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. How do they look to us? So that's kind of the big picture of what strengths we're going to talk about today. If you have questions anytime, be sure to ask me. We're here for quite a while. They say I could stay all day, but I don't know if you would. So we'll do that, answer questions, go through a lot of different information. So any questions right now as we get started?
I took it a while back, and I just lost it. Took it again, and then when I was logging in last night after I take it, I reset my password. I got logged back into the old one. So three of them were the same. I just want to know, over time, does it change, or do you think it changes, or whatever? I had three of the ones that I had previously had, maybe in a different order, but they were there, and then two. So what would you say about that?
It's very common. Probably what now you've seen is your top 7 instead of your top 5. Because when people take the test, we'll talk into that a little bit later, 5 and 6 probably change places with 3 and 4 or something like that.
So over time, we got stronger in those particular aspects, or is there an order?
Yeah, we'll get into that.
All right.
And if I don't say it soon, ask your question again, but we'll get into that.
Could we add their strengths to our list?
Okay.
Yeah, we just took it. They just took them. Does everybody have a sheet? Did everybody get one of these sheets?
Let's write them on there, then we'll.
Well, we'll just read them and then they can write them. Everybody, they've got spots for theirs.
We don't want to leave them out. Everybody's going to be.
No, I'm like feeling.
What's wrong? Well, I'm thinking, I want to know. She does.
Did you guys plan each other thing? Did you guys call each other?
We call each other every day. No one usually gets to see it.
Thanks, thank you.
Whenever they're ready. I'll go ahead and yell mine out. Restorative, developer.
Go a little slower.
All right, restorative,
Okay.
developer, connectedness, includer, consistency.
Okay. Ursula?
There's learner, futuristic, intellectual, relator, and achiever.
What was your first one, Michael?
Restorative, I'm sorry.
Okay, great. So I'm going to start with a little slideshow that I've put together, and we'll just kind of walk through that quickly to kind of get, this will be like some information and in ways that we're going to be talking about a lot of different things today. So can you see if I can get over here? Okay. This might make sense later for those of you that haven't seen this presentation before. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, next step. Gallup was, one of the things Gallup started to do when they were, basically they were looking at this for certain ways of helping business, because that's a big part of what they do, helping businesses be better at what they do and where people might fit better for employee engagement, also for hiring and things like that. So they were thinking, if you're given, this is the question they posed, if you're given opportunity for training to improve, fix one aspect of your life, would you, click, choose what's your strength, to work on your strengths, or would you choose to work on your weaknesses? Oh, that got in there. So anyway, what would you do?
I would do strengths.
I would do weakness.
Who would do, how many would do weaknesses? How many would do strengths? What you're good at? That's about 50-50. Now, is any of that, some of you have been through this, would you have done that before you had gone through this? Or would you go with your weaknesses? Yeah. And like you can see up here, in the US, 59% of the people go first to that weakness. Got to fix what's wrong with us, right? And then click. But so in Japan, it's 75% choose weaknesses first. In China, it's like 80% go to weaknesses first. And so what Gallup decided to do, they needed to do some more research. So they were thinking that, click, okay, the conventional wisdom was that your greatest room for growth was where you had weaknesses. So you could grow more if you worked on your weaknesses. And I think a lot of the a lot of schools right now are still following that process of, let's get the weaknesses, let's work on the weaknesses, let's work on the weaknesses. When I took my granddaughter through this when she was a sophomore in high school, we were talking about this concept, and so one of the things, we'll get to one of those. So in the late 50s, Gallup was working with Lincoln Public Schools to see what this was going to show up. So they, doing incoming freshmen, what is their reading comprehension? What's the average is what they were looking for. They wanted to find out what that was with an 80% retention rate. So they found out that most of the kids were at 90 words a minute. They thought that was way too low. They wanted to get that higher up. But they found there was one group of kids that were at already reading 350 words a minute with 80% comprehension retention. So they thought that's a pretty good number. With these kids with 90, they said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get them some training. We're going to give them some books. We're going to give them some exercises. We want to see if we can bring that up to a better level. So they did, and then they had them take the assessment again and went up to 150 words a minute, which is about a 60% increase, which is pretty good, right? Right?
Right.
Okay, good, you're waiting. So, what do you think happened with the other group? They took the same testing, the same training, the same everything. Double? Triple?
I said
Dropped? Okay, so how many says it went up? That didn't already know this. How about going down? Those of you that don't know the answer, how many thought it went down? Okay, Gallup almost didn't give this group the assessment or the training because they thought it was going to go down too. Or how many thought it was going to stay the same? Okay, so it did go up a little bit. So it went up to 2,900 words per minute with 80% comprehension retention, or better. And I'm told it's reading a book about that fast.
Go 2,900 words per minute.
I don't know. That isn't me. That isn't me. Finger, no. So one of the things that they found here is that, eureka, this is one of their eureka moments. These kids down here at the first group, they knew how to read, right? They all had learned how to read, and they were able to increase their skills by, in this case, 60%, which was a good result. But these kids over here, the ones that started at 350, they had a talent. And that talent was reading. And if you give that talent, that kind of training, that kind of exercises, that kind of working together with them, then that what you have as a talent becomes a strength. And so one of the reasons I use the word talent themes, I'm going to use that all morning, because I don't know if your talents are a strength yet. And you may not know if your talents are a strength yet. But you all have these talents, right? Now, somebody who has a good voice, I'd like somebody to read something out of the Bible for me. Could you do that? Who's going to offer to do that? I can just... Okay, good. I don't have to use my finger. So, Psalm 139, verse 13 to 18. Psalm 139, verse 13 to 18.
Are you ready?
Whoever's going to speak that out. Yeah.
For thou didst form my inward parts, thou didst weave me in my mother's womb. I will give thanks to thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are thy works, and my soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from thee when I was made in secret, and skillfully wrought in the depths of the earth. Thine eyes have seen my unformed substance, and in thy book they were all written, the days that were ordained for me, when as yet there was not one of them. How precious are thy thoughts to me, O God! How vast is the sum of them! If I should count them, they would outnumber the sand. When I awake, I am still with thee.
Okay, so this was another one of my eureka moments when I got my talent themes, my 5, and I started realizing, okay, this is who I am. Well, okay, what happened here? Which one of those 2 kids did God give each one of those 2 groups of kids the same talents?
No.
So what did you hear in that scripture? Were you wonderfully made? Were you uniquely made? This for me was one of those eureka moments for me. It's like, oh, this helps me further prove, remember my talent theme, proving is really important. So data like this is really helpful for me and other people. Other people, it's like, data's data, who cares? And some people just are going squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. But that's because of the talents that the Lord has given us, right? We'll see that more. Okay, let's go to the next page. Okay, so here's by the numbers. Okay, now, because I'm who I am, I have to do this slide each time because it is really fun for me. And if you don't like this, take a nap. I don't care. I'm doing it anyway. Okay, so StrengthsFinders, 34 themes of talent. They've been doing this over probably about 50 years now. 4 million interviews. Right now, there's about 17 million individuals that have taken just the top 5. Gallup's going for 1 billion in 2020. So they're really trying to get this out right now. Over 50 countries, 20 languages, more than 7,000 a day are taking these. Okay? So the chances of, this is where we're going to get into that uniqueness piece, somebody having your top 5 talents in any order, okay, is 1 chance in 278,000. So there's a chance, right? Nobody remembers Dumb and Dumber. I'm just kidding. Got to find a new one. Okay, so, but to put those in the same order, the chances of somebody having your top 5 in the same order is 1 in 33.39 million. So there's still a chance to find that person. Now we're just talking about today your top 5 talents, which are called signature talents, which means everything I'm saying to you right now is going through your talents. And it's all happening, right? So these are signature talent things, but there's more than 5. You've got somewhere between 9 and 12 signature talent themes, which means everything goes through it all the time. The chances of finding somebody in your top 10 in the same order is 1 chance in 773 billion. The chances of getting their top 10 in the same order is 1 in 447 trillion. Now, how many of you think there's a chance now of somebody having your talent themes in the same order? Anybody? Okay, now to do the overdo, because I am who I am, 34 talent themes in the same order is that. An undecillion. I don't know how they come up with those names, but that's what that is. Now somebody, Gallup was trying to figure out, okay, now what does that look like so people can get a grasp on this? And this person came up with, this is a number bigger than, larger than, more than, all of the galaxies and all of the planets in every one of those galaxies that we have found on all of this telescoping for all these years. It's bigger than that. Now what did Psalm 139 say, right towards the end?
I can't count the thoughts
Say it again.
like you can't count the thoughts that he has.
He has more thoughts than the grains of sand. You can't. This is much, much bigger than the grains of sand. So how unique do you think God has made you?
There's only one Leah.
Exactly. That's good. You know, and my 3-year-old granddaughter starting to go to preschool, and she's going to a Westside Baptist, and she came home and she said, I learned that God made me special. And I thought, whoa, we're in the right spot here. She's got it. But that's true, right? So God, here's some mathematical stuff. Now, part of my story that some of you know and some of you don't know is that Linda came to the Lord. Linda and I, when we got married, we were radically unsaved. And it wasn't that we were against God or anything. It just wasn't for us. Then Linda got saved after I got out of law school. And that was good, because if she needed a crutch, this is what I was thinking, not her. If she needed a crutch, that's okay. But you can't prove this stuff, right? You can't prove that anything in the Bible. That's what I thought at that time. Now I can prove it. There's more first-hand evidentiary, like from a first-hand witness. And I do workers' compensation trials all the time. I have more. I've never had a case that has had the kind of first-person testimony as the Bible. It's all over the Bible once you see it. But since I didn't see it, and it was all about, okay, prove it, because I would say things like, usually after I had too many scotches, and I would say, I could believe what you believe if it was true, but you can't prove it, so I don't. Okay? What do you think got me into the kingdom? Was a pastor that came to my house and didn't want money. And that's the first time that ever happened to me. Because usually I find out what I did. You want to be on the finance team? You want to be in the building? Of course, we want you to give a big amount of money. And that was rubbing me wrong. Because at that point I wasn't a Christian. I was just going to church. Because Linda wanted to go to church, and, well, that's okay. Then I'll go. So the third time he came, he said, if you died tonight, would you know for sure that you're going to heaven? I said, oh, sure. He said, how do you know? And this was my answer. I didn't kill anybody, and I'm taking care of my family. I'm sure he thought, oh, I got a hot one. I got this guy. I'm ready. So he said, would you like to know for sure? And I thought, well, you're a nice guy. Okay. And so I did. That's just who I was, okay? So he gave me the Bible. I can't tell you what I read. I can guess now, knowing what I know now and what I would have somebody else do now. But at that point, I started to read, and right here, it was not verbal, but it was, I knew. I knew that I knew that I knew. It's true. I'm in. It's all in or nothing, right? So it's 100%. I'm in. Okay, that's good. I went down Linda came home and I said, this is what happened. And she said, wow, that's great. And so, no big deal. I didn't stop drinking or anything. And a couple of weeks later, I hit the wrong nail when I was hammering in my house, and I didn't swear. Now, I had gone through, working my way through college and undergraduate school, and then law school. I worked on the railroad as a Gandhi dancer. Anybody know what a Gandhi dancer is that hasn't heard my story? It's the guy that spikes the rail. So you put in the spike into the rail, into the tie, and you pound down it, and then you straighten the rails and you push them out. It's not a fun, but I learned a lot of four-letter words there. And then I worked 6 summers doing construction on building bridges. I thought it was safer to walk the bridges before the wood was there than being on the railroad with trains coming by. And so I learned a lot more four-letter words there. So I had a different language, right? And I didn't swear. When I hit my thumb, I didn't swear. And I was so shocked. I went downstairs and I said, what do you think? When Linda said, well, the Bible says once you become born again, you'll see changes. And she said, that must be one of your changes. Oh, okay, that's good. I had nothing to unlearn, and that was the good part of it. But one of the things that it took me a long time to learn is this kind of stuff, how unique I was, or am, okay? So when I heard this, and I started getting when this started to really sink into me, this data right here, literally right here, okay, I used to think I am here for a purpose. I see that in the Bible all the time. You guys have seen it. What's your purpose? God's got a calling. How many of you are looking for God's calling yet? Okay, you don't have to raise your hands, but we all are we? Really, I'm at a different stage of life right now, and I'm still doing the same thing. God, what do you want me to do for this stage of life? What is the calling for now? Now, what I thought it was, okay, during my lifetime, I'll be doing something, and that's good. But did I get this? Okay, there's never, ever, ever been a person that has these my talent themes in this order. Never. And there never, never, never will be a person that has my talent themes, ever, until Jesus returns. Never, ever. So there's something that he wants me to do, and I'm his first pick. This started to really hit me. It was like, whoa, this is much deeper, because I thought it was just for this time on the earth. What is that thing he wants me to do? Now, he can find somebody else to do it if I've got my own free will and I don't have to do it, right? But I'm his first choice. Whoa, that started changing my whole outlook on everything. Because it was like, okay, from the time beginning until Jesus returns, nobody has the same assignment that I do. Nobody has the same assignment that you do. Each one of you has a unique calling. Every one of us has that calling, and it's uniquely given by who? God, before you were even what?
Made.
Yeah, before we were made. He decided who was going to get what. And I don't say that irreverently. That's what he did, in effect. Before we were made. And then he made us how? Wonderfully made. Wow, that changed my whole outlook on all this stuff. So I look at this now as a tool. I can use this tool in a corporate setting. I don't go through that piece that I just went through with most of them, but just going through the numbers. People in business get it. People in a job get it. I've done everybody in my law firms. We've done everything. I've done different companies, etc., etc. This, for me, it's a tool, right? And so StrengthsFinders is a tool. It doesn't mean you're not going to you get spiritual gifts, right? God's going to give you spiritual gifts, right? Cool. A lot of them match right up with your talent themes. Okay, now, this is not irreverent, but duh. If he's going to give me a certain set of talent themes, or you a certain set of talent themes, he's going to give you certain other tools, I'm just going to use that, tools, to help you fulfill that calling that he's put on your life. Okay? So that's my revelation from that. Next one. Okay, yeah, that's good. So we learned what?
No one's like us.
Nobody's like us. But we're kind of alike, right? We're kind of alike, but we're really quite different. So here's what's happening with all this that I've talked about so far. We start off with your input, and that's all the stuff I've been saying today, or they're the things you go through. Then it goes through your filter. So with my filter, you better be working really, really, really hard, or I'll kick you off the bridge. And I had that thought one day, and I thought, I'm not going to do that, but this guy's such a slacker. That's where I was, right? And you better be focused. When I'm talking to you, you better be focused. Responsibility, you better be here on time. You better be get done what you said you're going to do. Analytical, I'm going to prove it. Why? And discipline, we're going to do this over and over and over. Do you know what I do some days? Just a couple of weeks ago, I was working with the Fresh Start group. They brought some people in from other countries. And I spent a day and a half, literally, back to back, hour and a half. And I was coming back, it was in the evening, and I called Linda, and Linda said, well, how'd it go? I am so charged. This is so wonderful. All of what I was doing is absolutely the part of what God has given me. Linda is a good coach, but after 2 in a row, she's got to go find some new people to talk with, right? It's just because she's made differently. I can sit there all day. Now, that's for now. There'll be shifts. So it's going through my filter, then that lens we see the whole world in, and then the typical response is, you need to be like me, right? Or, something's wrong with me. Now I have positivity, and how many of you have positivity? Mine's number 34. But I really don't have that one, right? The bottom 4 or 5 that we're not going to talk about for a long time, unless you go full 34 coaching. But it's like, we're not wired for that. So I literally am those of you that have positivity, if you've got really excited about something, have you ever had somebody say, what, you just got done with their presentation saying, this is great, this is what we're doing, what do you think? And somebody's been sitting there like this through the whole talk, because I'm an internal nonverbal processor. I never say anything I haven't thought a lot about, and something that I know can prove it. And the first question out of my mouth is, who's going to pay for it? Oh, how does that feel? Pretty fuzzy, warm, right? Oh, I'm so glad he's on my team. What's this guy doing here? The second question is, who's going to do all the work? Now, okay, I didn't get it, right? So this is what starts to happen with all of this. Because I didn't understand that, but I've had to learn a lot about it now, because my older granddaughter is 21, almost 22, and she has positivity in her number 2, I think. If I'm going to make grandpa points, I better figure out how to be positive, or at least work with positive people, or learn a skill to be positive, right? Because I want grandpa points. And I've learned, and that's another concept we'll talk about, I'm leveraging then these thinking talent themes for something that's a personal, emotional talent theme. Oh, I didn't think that was possible. But where I was at the front, all these people that were happy all the time, nobody's happy all the time. What do they want from me? I'm not going to let them in my back pockets. And if they then hug me because they're so excited about seeing me. Oh, you're a wonderful guy. And one of my best friends was like that. If any of you know Pastor Steve Peterson. And, you know, the Reids haven't hugged since the Reids became the Reids. But now I know how to hug. I got the right hand or the left hand. I'm getting better at that. And then I went to Italy. Oh, we won't go there. But it's just crazy. Okay, so that's what I was thinking because I didn't understand. Going through these lenses, we tend to think, why isn't everybody like me? Because I'm pretty normal. Right? You're thinking the same thing. I'm pretty normal. Why isn't everybody like me? Why isn't everybody happy? Why is that guy so gruff? A lot of other words were said. But and so this is what can happen when you don't understand one another. So because I have what I have, and a lot of times people with positivity are also very vocal, and they also want nonverbal communication. I've had to learn, okay, nod your head while they're talking. I'm not trying to, this is just reality, right? Okay. Now what I should do is say, that's a great idea. Have you thought about where you can get the money? Now positivity people, how does that make you feel?
That's better.
That's better. Right? I'm for you. Right? Or, you know, I think I can help you find some people. Have you got any ideas? Oh, well, no, I don't have any ideas. Because a lot of time the visionary, positivity person, they just don't have, they get the vision and the direction, and then to get it to nuts and bolts, they're not wired that way. I'm wired that way, but I got to have more data, right? That's the only reason I asked that question. I would not have asked that question if I didn't already prove to myself, this is good, I can be a part of it, and when I'm a part of something, I'm 100% in. But I haven't told him that, right? So I should be like this during the talk. Right now, and then if that's happening, that's a good relationship. The flip side is, and this is always a two-way street, the person with positivity, if you know that about me, John, do you not like this project, or you just need some information to help yourself prove this? I just need information. Okay, here's some information. Everybody's happy. If that doesn't happen over a period of time, what do you think happens?
The strife.
Strife, that's the beginning.
Just shuts it down.
Yeah, somebody has to leave. That's the last stage. And so when, you know, I've had people say to me when I've been on teams or stuff, it's like, I can't trust you. That's like going like that to me because I have responsibility. I'm the most trustable person you'll ever know. I'm going to go jump on the hand grenade for you. I haven't told you a word about that, have I? So all they see is what they see, and all I know is what I know, but it's all in here, right? So that's a huge understanding about this type of thing, the filters that we all have and carry, right? And we're going to see that as we start going through the talent themes here. And the more I coach, the more I'm absolutely, I don't know the right word, excited. Because this is so important in everybody's life. I mean, if you can understand your calling and who are these other people, wow, where can you go in the kingdom? You can start really seeing some huge increases in people coming to the Lord or getting help, getting healed. It doesn't just stop with getting saved, right? Okay, next one. That's my preach, I guess. Okay, quick formula, then we're done. Talent's national pattern of thinking, feeling, behaving that can be productively applied. And then it's a multiplication. Remember the students? The kids that had 350, it wasn't just a growth, right? It wasn't a plus. It was an exponential multiplication. So then the investment is that time practicing, developing, building your knowledge base. So as you're even going through the D school right now, this is a tool for all of you in one respect, or several respects, but in one respect is at the end of the time, you're going to go someplace. And I don't know if you guys have decided where you're going, but you're going to go someplace, right? And then all of a sudden you're a team, right? So how is this team going to function? Well, one way is if you understand these things, and then with the bottom one, putting in the practice and development time, then the strengths start to show up. So these talents become strengths. That's the it's near perfect performance almost all the time. That's what a strength is. So you may have some talent themes that are strengths right now. Some of them may not be for a lot of different reasons. And I think right there, Tim, we're just going to be done with this piece. So what we're going to do now is let's talk about, anybody need to take a break for coffee or anything? Okay, then I'm going to talk a little bit longer on this, and then we'll start going into your theme. So, questions right now, comments. Okay.
When I went on the Brussels trip with you, we asked John, like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, well, I'm not feeling anything, but I'm thinking.
Okay, yeah, that's, yeah. Yeah, that's not me. I'm thinking. So those of you, and a lot of you in here have empathy. I got your papers. I know who you are. I had one of my partners one day after we went through this. He walked up to me in the hall and he said, I'm not going to talk to you very much anymore because this is so scary. You know way too much about me. And he was not kidding. So anyway, a couple of things. That's the beginning of it. So when there's the talent themes, there's no male, there's no female talent themes. Any talent theme can be in partnership, if you want to look at it that way, because when your signature talent themes are functioning, this group of talent themes are working together all the time. So any combination can be there. Sometimes, like for example, Linda has Woo number 1, and she has Relator number 5. And relators, how many of you where are the relators? Okay. Do you like to meet new people, John?
Heck no.
I know, that's why I asked you. Who's the other relator? What's back? So do you like to meet new people first time? Okay. We'll have to look at your other talent themes. Pardon? No. Usually, relators, do you all have a small group of people? And I call it the posse. How many are in your posse? Ursula?
Yeah, I'm more a person. I have few, but
How many are in that deepest friendship?
maybe 5.
Okay. Seth? 2? John?
2, 3.
Never more than 5. Because they have to go really, really deep with a few, whereas Woo is going very, very shallow with a lot. Linda has both of those. So sometimes, I first thought, now how do you handle that? And she has a very simple thing. She said sometimes she just gets wooed out and she's got to go be with her posse. Because every one of the talent themes has intrinsic needs, and we'll talk about that as we go through. And one of the needs for that relator is that time with their very close group of people, their posse. With Woo, it's get them out. Let them have a conference to go work, right? Linda's right now on her way to, not Chicago, well, she's been there, and now she's going to D.C., and there's a prayer initiative that's going on in D.C., and they're going to have all kinds of prayer from people all around the U.S. I'll bet she meets more than one new friend in the first 16 seconds and has their life story, remembers their name, and 6 years from now I'll say, who's that person? And she'll say, oh, that's so-and-so, they did such and such. How do they do that? Who else says woo in here? Several of you do. How do you do that?
It's just natural.
It's just natural, right? Anybody can do that, right? That's what Linda kept saying to me. Just go talk to somebody. Get away from me. She didn't say that. She didn't say that, but that's what I heard. Yeah, she wanted, just go talk to somebody. Well, I didn't want to do that. I have later in my second 5, but I don't like meeting the new people. I like to look for the people I know. So you see how those things can be different? And one of the things I think is really important is not focusing on how different somebody is. So I'll just use Linda and I, because everybody that's married is different, and then there's different, and then Linda and I are someplace back here, different. And so we, instead of kind of bumping each other like we would do from time to time, we got a lot of counseling after I got saved, and then we started really working on our marriage. We still work really hard on our marriage. We've been married 47 years, and it's like we're still figuring this out, but now we're not bumping. And it used to be like this, and then when we understood StrengthsFinders, it went like this. And this is a whole lot harder to pull apart. But what's happening there is that we're recognizing and valuing each other's, how we're different. And then it's not how different we are, but how do we complement each other. So in our case, it's almost literal. Well, this is literally. I've got one side, which is the thinking type of talent themes, and she has a couple, 2 or 3. And then there's the social emotional group on this side. I got 1 maybe someplace, but it's not in the top 10. You know what I mean? No, you don't, but that's what it is. But, so, how do we complement? Well, we put us together, and we're functioning, following what the Lord is telling us to do at that time. It's really powerful. Now, we can still do it separate, but when we get over to the social emotional piece, I've got a big limp. I know a lot now to help people, but I don't feel it ever, almost never. I should say it that way, almost never. Because guess where one of the big touchy-feely ones is positivity, and there's a lot of empathy in this room, right? How many of you have empathy? I don't get you either. Because that's number 32 for me. My granddaughter has those 2 also. So I've learned a lot about those 2 talent themes. But it's all going through the brain filter for me. For you guys, is everything almost, empathy people almost always through feelings?
Unfortunately.
Well, yeah, and fortunately, it's both sides of that. And we'll talk about that one because that's the number 1 in this group. Most people have that one in this group. So that's interesting on the team dynamic. Well, I want to jump to that, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, so we're going to talk about balcony. That's when your talent themes are functioning the way they were intended to function. All talent themes will go into the basement from time to time. So when it goes into the basement, it's ugly, or it's drained out. And when you're in the basement, there are certain intrinsic needs that each one of your talent themes need to help you get up out of the basement. And so we'll talk about some of those. The talent themes are the same in any country. I've done it with Jeff and Becky in Kyrgyzstan a few years ago. And when we were done with a 3.5-day conference, just focusing on strengths and team, we just said, what some of the comments. What'd you get out of our time? And several of the women started to weep. And, I thought, whoa, because I don't get the feeling, right? I mean, anyway, I'm sorry for you that you're crying. Why did I do? That's what goes to my mind. What, did I hurt you? It must be my fault somehow. Guess where that's coming from? Responsibility. Oh yeah, I took responsibility for everything. And it's really hard for me to get away from that. So even something my future grandchildren will be doing, probably be my fault if they do something bad. That's where I am. Yeah, pretty much true. Yeah. Must have been my fault that so and so is doing such and such. No, they have their own free will. Okay, but it still must be my fault somehow. That's in the basement, right? I got to kick myself up out of there, literally sometimes. So where was I? Okay, so the gals were crying and they said, well, for the very first time, I see that I have value. And they're just weeping, weeping, weeping. Well, what was going on there, that's a Muslim country. It doesn't have radical Islam, but it still has Islamic culture, where women are not. It's still a country that women can be kidnapped and married, and the society lives with that if they get them totally into their house for a certain period of time. They don't get in trouble. Well, you know what I mean? So, for the first time I see that my husband has value. Okay, they didn't see, she thought he was just being mean. Well, he was wired like me. And he's in a culture that men are dominant over women. So the talent themes are the same talent themes, but they can be not modified, but they can be affected by the culture. Okay? So it doesn't, sometimes I get this question, well, do they ever change? We'll talk about that in just a second. But do they ever get stopped by doing certain things? Well, it's not that they go away, it's that you haven't developed them like we used our formula. So when I coached the first time through at my firm, the HR person came in. She has ideation number 1. Ideation, people get an idea, idea. And sometimes they don't have any idea what to do with that idea, but they still have it. And she came in and she said, your test is wrong. I don't have ideation. So why not? She said, well, I just don't get any ideas. I said, go think about it and come back in a couple of 3 days. Now, of course I'd tell her to think about it, right? Go feel about it. No, that's not going to work. Well, she came back and she said, oh, I get it. Anytime around the dinner table while we were growing up, if she had an idea that her dad didn't like, got put down. So she just, to protect herself, put up a shell. Okay, so she had to get out of that shell. So once she figured that out, I said, well, have an idea. And then she started having too many ideas. And so she was coming back to the law firm. We have a group management committee of 5 guys that are all wired like me. And she's trying to give them brand new ideas. And they're saying, where's your data? What's the cost? Have you done this? Have you done that? And no, but it's a great idea. Get out of here. Well, they didn't say get out of here, but it was like, come back when you've got some background. You've got to prove this to us. So then the training, as we get every talent theme has to be trained to get up to that strength level. It's like getting more reps at the gym or wherever you go. It's okay, so I said, think about who is sitting in that room with you when you come in with your brand new idea. They're like me, and the light bulb went on, and she said, oh. I don't know how to take that, but maybe I had hurt her, offended her too. But she then started figuring out how to just increase her ideation by having the documents ready, realizing, oh, if so-and-so's in the present that day, I'd better have extra data. And then she's more received. Now, they didn't always say yes, but they didn't just kick her out, quote unquote, kick her out. So you see how just understanding talent themes start to really, so anyway, that's how they can be modified, but the talent themes never change in this respect. There's a lot of information out there right now in this whole area of the brain, and how and when do you have your patterns in the brain. And 2 or 3 years ago they were saying people in around somewhere 14, 15, 16 in that range, then prior to that They've just had these neurosynaptors in the brain that are just kind of firing off on random patterns. And then at that 14, 15, 16, those then start functioning and firing on specific rails, so to speak. So you're on a rail and it never changes. What they're finding out now is that it's much, much earlier than that. Okay, Psalm 139. They're getting it right now. Gallup hasn't come out with a paper on this, but one of the last coaching things that I went through out there, they were talking about, they're thinking it's down into 4 to 5 year olds. Now, being a grandpa, it's day one, right? So Ian, our 17-year-old grandson, when he was a teeny tiny baby, when it was bedtime, and we always wanted to rock him, you know, and because his sister, who's a little older, has positivity and empathy, always wanted to be hugged and da-da-da-da-da. And Ian would cry and cry and cry till you put him in bed. He didn't want to be hugged. He wanted to go to bed. Fast forward 17 years, he's still not a touchy-feely person. He and I are wired a lot alike, right? So our hugs are just, it's weird, isn't it? It's okay. So, but his brother then, who's 14, just a couple of years younger, when he was 4 and before, he was always wanted to be hugged. He always wants to be the center of attention. Ian never wants to be the center of attention. In anything, he doesn't want to be in the center. Okay, Ollie always wants to be in the center. So Ollie at 4, so we were watching Zoe, who's now 22 almost, and she was doing swim team at college or high school, and Ollie said, "Hey Pops, can I go down and make some new friends?" We're sitting up in the bleachers, and I said, "Well, where are you going, Ollie? I need to make sure I see where you're going." "Oh, I'm going to go down there and talk with those guys." Well, these were the juniors and seniors, boys, watching the girls do the swim meet down in the front. And I said, okay. I watched him, of course. He gets down there on their level in the bleachers, and he sits down, and then he moves over, and then he moves over. And by the time we left, they were in a circle. He couldn't leave until he had them all in a circle because he taught them a hand thing. And they had to do the hand thing and do the whatever they were doing. He was 4. Fast forward, oh my gosh, he'll talk your arm and leg off. It needs to be fact checked. I'm finding out. Because, oh, Pops, everybody knows that. Have you read a book on that? Oh, but everybody knows that. So anyway, you see how, but that was there. What did Psalm 139 say? It's before we were born, right? So science is finally catching up with the Lord. Going back over, why do some, if you take it 2 times, 3 times, how many people have done it a couple of 3 times? Okay, did it change very much when you've done it? Do you remember? What was there any changes?
I think the positivity goes from like 7 to 4 around there.
Okay.
Just because.
So you have your full 34?
I think I've only done the full 10.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Okay, because now those are all signature talent themes, see? And so that's why I said you've seen 7 when you had 3 and 2 changed. So you've seen the first 5 and then 2 checked in. So those talent themes are there, and then I think what happens sometimes too is if, for example, if you have, who has communication? Okay, so do you guys like to verbally process?
Sometimes.
Okay, we'll look at your other talent themes. See, everything's modified, everything's amplified. So everybody's communication is going to look different because of the other talent themes. So with that, generally speaking, people with communication don't know what they really want to say or think until you've had a chance to verbally process it. Is that true? Sometimes you really don't even know what you think till you start talking. Is that true?
See that, yeah.
At least they're telling the truth. Okay. Because every one of them does it in some. And if you don't understand that, my wife has, guess what she has in her second 5? Communication. Okay. Guess what I've been doing? As soon as she gets to a certain level, I want to talk about something. Okay. She talks a while and says, okay, here's your answer. I'm done. Right? No. That has nothing to do with it, right? Does it? If you haven't got it verbally processed, are you ready to move on no matter what somebody says? Be honest.
I don't think so.
No. Because how many times, and then with what I find with communication, what I live with, is that is a negative. Okay, here's this bottle. So let's talk about this bottle, because what this talent theme needs is time to verbally process, and they love to do interactions with other people. They need a sounding board. Is that true?
Yeah.
Somebody just to bounce it off of. They may not, you may already really have a pretty good idea of what you're doing is right, but you need to just verbally process it. So, okay, we verbally process this, and what I've learned, for those of you that don't know what I know right now, it's like, okay, where I started was, do you want an answer or do you just want to talk? I just want to talk. Okay, I'm off the hook, right? But, very important, very, very important. Because nonverbal processing, communication is very important to communication people. Are you still listening? I could tell you exactly what you just got done saying, but that wasn't good enough. What was good enough was, you have to nod your head so I know you're listening. Okay. Now, I'm not saying we do this perfect. I don't do this perfectly, but that's what happens. So we do this. Oh, that's great. I think we're done. Next day she says, oh, let's do that again. Okay. And then, oh, the next day it's, oh, let's do it this way. They have to look at it from multiple different perspectives. And that's absolutely crucial to them. But what I've learned with that, it's really, really helped me with all the analytical thinking stuff that I do, because I'm always looking for the best way to do it. John, you have deliberative number 1, or 2, isn't it?
1.
Number 1. Okay. He's the only one in here except me that has this. Mine's number 6. So do you internally process all this stuff?
Yes.
And when somebody's just talking like I was just explaining, does that, yeah, you see, he's been married a long time. He's learned that. But, so John is going to sit there and think more than most people, but he's also coming at it from a lot of different perspectives. So my deliberative needs that too, was what I learned. It was really helping me. Her communication was actually helping me use my analytical number 1, that one, and then deliberative. Those two really, different perspectives. But so you start to understand that. So that's what happens with talent themes. Some magnify and some modify. So nobody has command in here, do they? Right. Right. So everybody salute, because we have a general right here. I'm kidding. I know Nate a long time, so he's not upset, I hope. So here's an example, and I'm using these examples because somebody that I live with that has communication says, always tell lots of stories. Wonder who that was. And tell them about something that people find interesting. So what I think they like is when I tell stories about me, because then I'm not pointing anybody else out. But with command, my daughter has command, my granddaughter, that's 21, has command. She has positivity and empathy. My daughter has activator. Activator is, who has activator here? She's our only one. Do you ever find yourself, it's got to start now?
Yeah.
How long? Now, right?
Don't waste any time.
It's always that. Don't waste any time. Get started. Now,
Like this.
yeah. So, Alex, so sometimes do you get the, oh, why didn't you wash the windows? Well, I didn't know they were dirty. Well,
My God.
she hasn't seen it, but, oh, they're dirty. Why didn't you fix this? Does that, something like that ever happened in your life? Never. Okay.
All the time.
So it's that start it. Okay, so that one with my daughter, when command walks, what it does is it walks in and says, who's in control? I'm in control. Okay. So it's good in sometimes, in a team, you got to have some of that really. But if her activator is going into the basement, it's literally, and then magnifying that with her command, it's the General Patton who, he's going to punch you in the nose if you didn't do anything. Now, she doesn't do the punching, but that's the presentation. It's really harsh. Okay? Usually when she's in high places of stress. We would have parented a whole different way had we known that about our daughter. We were trying to keep her in the lines, and I was the boss. And I figured, I would have done that different. But with our granddaughter, she has that same command, but with empathy, positivity, it's like, she doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, right? Oh, wouldn't you like to do this? You'd be great at this. Oh, you need to do this. You'd be great at this. I'll take this one. It's because I don't want anybody else to mess it up. But she didn't tell you all of that. So hers comes across really soft, but she's doing the exact same thing, getting people. She's in control. She's helping people get what needs to be done for the group. So you see how they can all amplify, modify each other. Okay, questions? No, I'm probably talking too much.
We've been talking about this weekend for a while.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah, I love this stuff too. It's great. Okay, anybody have questions on anything right now? I'm trying to think of another one that Okay, so here's another thing that happens sometimes. Some talent themes are very misunderstood. And so one of them that's misunderstood, if a male has it, is empathy. Because oftentimes males, when they see that, oh, it can't be. In fact, I was in Scotland coaching with a group, and one of the people was a fisherman that was out in the ocean all the time, and his number one was empathy, and he's sitting in the back, and he's this great big guy, 3 sizes wider than me, and all these muscles, and I said, who has empathy? And he went, I said, oh, sir, and I knew somebody was in there, a male, I didn't know which one it was, and, oh, can you tell us about your empathy? He looked at me and his face started getting red, and he says, it cannot be a man's. It cannot. Well, okay, let's talk about that. Well, his culture, this is a great culture one, he's a fisherman out on the water bringing in the fish. He couldn't show his emotions. And so he thought there was something wrong with him. So that one, then he repressed it. So somebody that has communication, for example, if you grew up in a culture at your dinner table where everybody gets a chance to have their say, so to speak, then your communication talent theme is really amplified in the sense that not only is it one of those types of talent themes that amplifies, but now you've been working on it your whole life. So it's now a strength, and your other 4 or 5 talent themes may not have been worked out that strong. So you think, oh, this talent shouldn't have been in my 5. Did anybody have that happen? A question about your talent being in your 5?
All the time, all of them.
All of them? Okay.
Well, except for empathy.
Yeah, okay. John, you too?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Did you want me to expound on that?
Sure.
I need specific instructions.
John is a rule follower, too.
Yeah, harmony's in my top 5, and I've always thought that was odd because I seem to be at odds with people most of the time.
Mhm. Yeah, we'll talk about, that's one that gets misunderstood a lot. So those of you that have harmony, we're going to talk about that one too. So you think all 4 of yours are wrong? It's just empathy is the one that connects?
No, individualization does now.
Okay.
It didn't always.
Okay.
So, I communicate. I don't know. Just sometimes.
Yeah.
I just like, okay, so I got this, I feel like I have this weird set of talents.
Anybody had the conversation with God? Why did you give me these? Yeah, me too. It used to be that way all the time. I had a lot of conversations with him saying, "Oh, you sure? I mean, you know, come on. Nobody
Yeah, you wonder if he has a
likes
sense
these."
of humor that's just a little sick.
Yeah.
Like, what? Why'd you put them together?
So, yeah, so in pointing all the fingers at me, okay, I've been going to a lot of different Gallup coaches things and certifications, and guess how many of them have the combination of focus, analytical, and discipline?
None.
You're right. I'm always the one that's the oddball out there, and I was thinking, Lord, why do you have this passion? He's given me this passion, and that's the wild card in all of this as to which talent themes work best in the right places, quote unquote. It's what's God's passion? So what's your passion? That's how you're going to live it out through your themes. But I've had that conversation with the Lord multiple times. Multiple times. I was absolutely sure he had made a mistake until, and was that big numbers thing up here that got me out of that one, because I was really stuck. Because nobody would just pick my 5 off of a table full of coaches and say, I want that guy. Because all the rest of them have the social, emotional, a lot of those talent themes. Oh, that's the coach I want. Except for John. So I'm there for John. I'm there for the Johns of life, right? But I can't tell you how many times when I go places and do coaching, how many people are really like me, and they can connect very quickly with that process.
So along that same train of thought then, would you say that, say someone with my top 5, we have a specific type of people that we like to connect with?
Right.
Not necessarily people with similar things, but people that would just...
Compliment.
Yeah, so there's just kind of like a general or like a natural draw
good.
to that?
Yeah, so a lot of this that I'm going to be talking to you about is happening all the time already anyway. So like Alex, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so after Alex, what he's talking about is basically, oh yeah, he's already finding partners, and we tend to do that. So with my talent themes, when Linda and I have been involved in the church for a long time, and we were at another church, and at that church, every Sunday you could come down and get prayer, and if Linda wasn't with me, then I'd always find a woman, because they were more emotional, right? So I was automatically finding that person that I needed. Well, part of it was, we didn't want the same sex or opposite sex thing. We want to have male, female for everybody we prayed for. But, and then I found out, whoa, some of these women are a whole lot more emotional than the others. I need to work with them. And so what was happening, I knew that intrinsically I knew I don't get the empathy people that are there pouring out their life story, and their faces are raining out of tears and just horrible stories. And then there comes a spot where when you're counseling somebody like that and ready to pray, and you're saying, I'm in my mind thinking, there's a lot of unforgiveness here. I need to talk about unforgiveness. because that's the only thing that's going to let you free. Well, the empathy person is still, oh, I'm so sad, I'm so sad, I'm so sad, which is great, right? But almost always when I understood this, I would ask the female later, now, was it okay when I stepped in and said, how about that unforgiveness? They always said, oh, I'm so glad because I didn't know what to do next, because it was so hard for me to listen to what they were doing. It was so nice to have you step in and say, okay, time to do some heavy work. And it was their choice then. I mean, we didn't push anybody to do anything, but I could point out in a calm, I hope it was kind. I think it's mostly kind. It's always kind, I think. But it's misunderstood. But anyway, all of that to say, we were doing it naturally. And so that's already happening. Is what this then helps you to see is, oh, let's do that quicker and sooner. We can go deeper if we start to understand that about each other. Okay? Okay, well, now it's time for a break. But any other questions or anything? Okay, what we're going to do next, I'll just go through several of the talent themes to start us off with, and then I've got an exercise for you to sit down in small groups and do something. And you can't be with your spouse when you do this, if you have a spouse here. Okay? So let's take a 10-15 minute break. That are in this room. And if you have questions as we go through, make sure to ask them. Now, in this group, I always, whenever I have a group, I always go through and see what talents are here. And what I found with this group, the number one talent that's here is empathy. So I think you've got, is it 29 people? 11 of this group has empathy. So that's a very high percentage for this team. So this would be, for this team, that's its number one talent theme.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is that like a common one in the church? I've sat through this with you with lots of different groups, and I feel like empathy is always the number one.
In church
Maybe
settings?
That's a coincidence. Like my last day school, empathy was the number one. Even I feel like trainings I've done with you for mission trip teams and stuff, it's empathy is the number one in this group.
Why would you think that is?
Just
Mercy.
I think of who you're talking to.
I don't know the right answer. I'm just wondering.
No.
If that's common in church circles.
You don't see many in the accountants when I do the accountants or the lawyers. Well, it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. It's just not very often.
But I don't have it, so that's how we balance.
Yes, that's right. But so to answer your question, yes, you start seeing, depending upon who the group is, you start seeing certain talent themes showing up. So in this setting, because what's the purpose of D-School? Equip and send. Okay. Anything else? Relationship with the Lord. Okay. Anything else?
To be leaders.
To be leaders.
Community.
Community.
Learn more about the Bible.
Learning more about the Bible. Okay. How about when you go out on the trip?
With the gospel.
What do you think would really be helpful with this team if you're out in a country that needs? Wouldn't the number one talent theme really be helpful if they were there? So I think that's the way to look at that. So yes, because of the groups that you and I have been at when this has happened, a lot of times it's faith-based people. So for example, Julie Kronberg, everybody know Julie? She has a class over at UNO, and so I got to go over there and do 2 sessions with her class. I think most of them are last year or maybe even last semester of going into education. But I didn't know that. I got the results, and I had a lot of developer, and I had a lot of empathy, and I thought, okay, I've got to find out who this group is. Well, they're not just educators, but they're educators who want to focus on children with some sort of handicap or special needs. And so, these are the people that are going to go to those. So I knew it was something. I didn't know what the what was. So yes, when you start seeing that, it's one of those things, when you start to see that happening, it's like, oh, that makes a whole lot of sense. So if, we do have some attorneys in my office, shockingly, that have empathy in their top 5. And one of the things, for example, they are really good with juries. So being a litigator, they're actually picking up the waves, what's happening with what the vibe of the jury. That makes it a little, that would help an attorney in a trial to figure out, maybe we should approach it this direction instead of this direction. So it can be applied everywhere. In this group, what that looks like is like, okay, this group has probably got a lot of what? What have you already noticed about yourselves before we started talking about talent themes? Anything?
A lot of caring.
Yeah, caring?
I have a lot of crying in our group.
Crying?
I know, I cry the most. And empathy's not even in my top 5. It's in my top 10 though.
Might be.
It is, yeah.
Anything else you've noticed? On the big scale, I mean. Well, okay, so empathy, all of you people that have empathy, do you actually feel the feelings of other people? So, do you feel when you walk into a room, can you feel that something's different or negative or positive, either way?
Yes.
And then, when you go to a different city, do you notice that same type of thing? How about a different country? Okay, so my guess would be well, I won't go there. I was going to say we could guess on what your spiritual gifts are, but one of those might be prophetic, because a lot of times people with empathy are prophetic. Not always.
I would say discernment.
Discernment. Mm-hmm. So with that, you can actually feel the feelings of people. Then, do you ever find that people want to come to you and just start pouring out their life story?
In the grocery store.
In the grocery store, yeah. Any other place? Do they even know? Sometimes do they even know who you are? Or if you're like at church, for example, if somebody you may not know very well is coming over and saying, I just need to talk to somebody. See that happening ever? So what people understand, like I was just talking about empathy a few minutes ago, I knew something was different about these women. And I thought at that point it was just the women, but then I thought, oh, this is a spiritual gift, yes, for sure. But it's also that talent theme of empathy, because one of the things that empathy actually needs is a time to vent. Do you need that? Do you just need it sometimes? Do you just need to cry for no reason? Empathy needs to just let it out sometimes. So if you're married to empathy, you need to be really aware that there's going to be some days they're just upset and they don't know why. Because I think partly of what you're picking up when you're in a city or you're walking around or you walk into a room, sometimes do you feel that something's wrong with me? Does that make sense? So a story about my older granddaughter. She has empathy really high. She was just finished college at San Francisco Art Institute. So she's been in San Francisco for 4 years, and it's like, whoa. So not this summer, but the summer before, she called and said, I've got all this anxiety, I don't know what to do with it. I think it's coming out of my empathy talent theme, but I don't understand it. I just can't handle it anymore. So when she came back for the summer, we spent some time talking about her talent themes. We always do that. But specifically about empathy. And she's very high empathy, so she feels the feelings of people right away. She's just carries the burdens of other people all the time. Do you feel empathy, people, that you're carrying the burden for the person that's talked to you? And you just carry it and walk it with you. So when she started talking, one of the things that I knew about her was that her school was over here and she lived over here, and in between there was a lot of hills because it's San Francisco, and she rides her bike to and from school a lot. So one of the questions I asked her is, when you ride your bike through the Tenderloin neighborhood, is that the flattest way to get to school and back? Oh yeah, that's why I go through there. And I said, isn't the Tenderloin area the most dangerous part of the whole city? And she said, oh yeah, it is. And the light bulb went on. She's riding her bike through a community where there's all this anxiety, all of this pain, and she was picking it up and not recognizing it for their pain. She was taking it on as her pain and her anxiety. So that's how sometimes this talent theme can go into the basement because you're carrying too many other people. So people with empathy, do you like to have somebody that's there to kind of help you when you need to get out of a talk? So you need to be partnering with that person or persons that don't have empathy, that you can say, hey, it's time for you to, stop talking to that person. Or, because every talent theme, we want it in the balcony, right? Great. This is a talent theme that, wow, this is really great. People know kind of intuitively that you're safe, and then you have really good skills of listening, and you're actually feeling it. So how do you think, do you find that people get a lot of help out of your conversations?
I believe so.
Yeah. Do you ever have somebody that just never wants to get better? They just want to keep coming and tell you the same story over and over and over. You need a partner that says, wait a minute, until you go do this fresh start, you don't get to talk. I'll be your friend, but we're not going to talk deep. But the empathy people, can you do that by yourself?
I actually can.
But it's hard.
No,
No? Okay.
I don't know. But that is, maybe it's the individualization. I don't know, but I have very good boundaries that way.
Yep. That's probably your individualization. Yeah. So see how just the natural, so in the basement, one of the things you're looking for on everybody's talent themes, on every talent theme is, okay, what's that? I call them red and yellow flags. The yellow flag is, okay, I got this person, and maybe there's only a certain number you can handle too. Empathy people tend to, is it hard to say no if somebody's hurting? And they come up to you and you know that you could help them? It's really hard to walk away, isn't it? Well, I've already got too many people I can talk to. That's really hard to say, but maybe somebody can help you, because that would be a yellow flag for you, because after that, then it can become overwhelming, and then it goes in the basement, and in the basement, how does your empathy, anybody know, you don't have to give any details, but have you been in the basement with your talent theme of?
It can cause severe depression.
Okay, causes you to be depressed?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know how to help them, and they keep coming, and
Right.
you feel trapped.
Okay, trapped, I hear that a lot. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think you can get like burnout with it too, and you
Oh, yeah.
have to stop caring in general.
Because then,
Overwhelming.
why, I should be able to do this. I know I can do this. But you've already got way too many other people that you're doing this for, and it's hard to say no. Call me. I'll do it kindly, I hope. Or other people. This is just a practical application of your talent theme is going to go there from time to time. And then coming up out of that, you need the time to vent. You need that time to just let it all out. And you need to brainstorm with other people that have that talent theme, but you sometimes need to process it with people that don't have that talent theme because they're bringing that perspective. Thank you. Respective. Of, okay, this is another angle from somebody that's outside. So when I was talking with Zoe, I said, maybe you should not ride your bike through there. Well, I'll try that. Well, she said, wow, it's really different. I feel a lot better. I'm going up more hills, but it helped her. Does that make sense? And it's just because she was realizing that she was carrying it and didn't know she was carrying it. Okay, other questions? Or other people, anybody else with empathy that is a little different?
I have a question. Is restorative close to empathy then? Because restorative is my number one.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel a lot of the stuff with the empathy too.
Right. So those two are going to really amplify each other. Yeah, we can talk about that. So with that, the significant and the needs and motivation, these are significant and they're actually intrinsic. Okay. Get to the right page here. Okay. Empathy needs to feel and then express their feelings. And if you get that, that's part of the way of staying out of the basement. But once you get in the basement, you might have to talk with other people to help you process it, okay? Empathy also loves the gladness, the sadness, and the madness of humanity. The gladness, the sadness, the madness of humanity. And with empathy, if you've got that kind of environment, isn't that energizing you?
Yes and no.
Right. Yes and no. Yeah.
There's very like high highs and very low lows.
Yes. I'm a kind of a 4 to 6 guy, and you're a 1 to 10 guy.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, you're talking about like trying to feel like people in the rooms, and like when I walk into work, like all my guys I work with in like a tire center, like sales desk type setting, they're like all very usually like negative. And so like most of my days, I feel like at least now I'm thinking about this, are spent like trying to like win them over necessarily.
Right.
And so you're talking about the high to highs and lows to lows for sure.
Right. And empathy doesn't like negative people. Positivity doesn't like negative people. So if you've got both of those, you're really amplified on people that are not friendly, not nice. Okay? Empathy also needs to be in these emotionally healthy environments. If you're in the basement, you might need to check about, okay, where's an emotionally healthy place I can go and talk to? Who are some friends I can talk to? Empathy also needs to guard their own heart. And then they need the freedom to laugh, cry, and vent. So as you find that group, maybe it's a person, maybe it's a group, you've got a lot of empathy in this room, maybe it's somebody in here that you can just, let it out. Okay? So on a team like this, okay, you're going to be going somewhere. The empathy people are really, what are they going to bring to the team? They're going to bring, okay, wow, we're going to understand the feelings of the people here. What does that lead to? Any strategic people? What strategically would you use empathy for?
Well, for us ministering, Heidi will say, hey, have you followed up with that person? You know, like, hey, check on that situation in their life. Like, I wouldn't necessarily follow up at ministry time, but that empathy helped me
Yeah.
relate to them later, and it made deeper connections.
Yeah. Any other place you might apply your empathy? If you're out in the field someplace?
I think it would help when talking with people, they just kind of put their guard down. And so as they're expressing with the empathetic person, someone else can kind of swoop in and kind of take charge.
Yeah. Yeah, when I'm out street walking with people, I always try to get with communication, empathy, positivity. I mean, all those at the bottom, because I can really compliment them. So that's what I'm looking for when I'm personally going out. Okay, I can help, they can help, but they bring the door open. They get the door open. That's one thing that I see happening, because people are willing to share, etc. Okay, anything else about empathy that you all questions?
Yeah, what if you don't feel as empathetic as you had in the past? So, I mean, you've been in the basement. What?
Okay, yeah. It could be a lot of different things. So, I mean, it could be that, you know, you're not in an environment that's happy, and so it doesn't go away, but maybe it gets kind of wraps up in itself.
Need a vacation.
Need a vacation, find a new outlet. But sometimes that's that yellow flag of saying, okay, I need to change something here because it's worse. I mean, it's not worse, but it's not as strong as it was before. It's kind of like there are ways the Lord is giving you some, okay, ring, 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 pick it up and get some help someplace.
Do you ever find that like empathy can be drilled down to different people groups or different scenarios? Because me, I'm empathetic towards a lot of things, but then some things I'm like, I feel like I should be really empathetic about this, and I got nothing.
Okay. Yeah. So this is a good point also. When we're talking about the talent themes and you've read your definitions, and I hope you did the red, yellow, green exercise, which is you read through your definition and that part that really connects with you, mark it in green. If you're not sure, mark it in yellow. If it doesn't apply to you, mark it in red.
I haven't heard that.
No.
Oh, I forgot.
PDFs that you
Shoot, now I feel really bad. My responsibility is really hurting right now.
It's okay.
Okay, I'm good. Self-help right here. Oh, okay, now I feel good. I beat myself up. Now I can go. So yeah, okay, that would be something for you to do. And I'm sorry that I didn't think of that. I usually tell people to do that. So what you then do is you're kind of looking at that then. The key here is not that every sentence in that definition applies. Some parts of it will, sometimes not apply. Sometimes that means it just hasn't been developed, or sometimes it's just not every part of every description applies to every person because we're so unique.
And Mary has belief, so belief can trump.
I was just going to ask you what, yeah. Well, so belief, well, we'll get to that one. Yeah. But yes, that one is definitely, yes. That's probably the primary reason. Okay. Anything else about empathy? Okay. Now, developer. How many? I know we have 8 developers. Okay, so people with developers, do you see the potential in people?
Yes.
And if you see the potential in people, do you have a desire to try to help them get better?
Yeah.
And how many of you have empathy and developer? Okay. Now these are going to really amplify there. And those that don't, your other talent themes, your developer is going to look a little different than those 3 people. or 4 people. So with that developer, is it okay if you're working out with or starting with the people taking baby steps? So can you start, if on a 1 to 10 scale, start with somebody on a 1, and as long as they're moving, you'll continue to work with them.
Yes.
And so,
Moving, you move on.
pardon?
When they quit moving and you don't think you're going to move again, you move on.
Right. So that's what happens with developer. Now, it's different time levels for almost all developers, but depending upon your other talent themes. But if that person continues to even take baby steps, will you stay with them?
Yes.
As long as they're willing. And if they stop being willing, how fast till you ditch them? That's a harsh word. So you tell them they can't come back.
I feel like mine takes a long time.
Yeah, it'll take a long time. So developers could definitely going to do that. They're going to spend that. They see the value in people. So it's like, I always like to use the T-ball example. People that are developers like to work with even the T-ball teams, and when they actually run to first instead of third, whoa, this is exciting. We've got a winner here.
They remember to run.
Yeah, or yeah, at least they ran, or at least they swung the ball, you know, all of those things. You'll stay with them as long as they're making progress. And then how do you feel when they progress and reach those higher levels?
Proud.
High?
Yeah, it's like a high.
Yeah, it's exactly right. It's like a high. Because what's going on in there is what? What's making that a high for you?
Seeing them succeed and grow.
Yeah.
And they're feeling that success, you're feeling the success they're feeling.
So you actually get some real energy out of their progress. And if they can make it, you're going to stay with them. Right? So this is, so on this team, that's the second one. There's 8 people here that have that. So, okay, this might show up on a team with, oh, we can help people. We can see what some problems are. We could help them develop a colony, a house, or whatever. Or a person, right? So anything else from, there's a lot more I'm going, or could say. So developers, how else do you see that being done in your life? Do you want me to call on people?
Maybe sometimes, like, if you're not seeing some sort of like steps toward progress, you can kind of just like, well, I guess we already said it, but just sort of want to drop it because you aren't seeing it, so you sort of want to just like ignore that it's not happening, and I don't know how to say it exactly, but you don't want to like keep trying after a certain point.
Right, because they're not trying. So you're done. Now the kind of the opposite to this one is maximizer, and I don't think anybody has maximizer. Well, but it's not in your top 5. But so, well, Nate can tell us. So maximizer, you see the same potential. Do you want to start with the T-ball group?
No.
Where do you want to
I feel
start?
like I don't want to deal with the apprentice because they're just learning. It's just too frustrating for me.
So at what point do you want them to be part of what you're doing?
Like a journeyman, or where I can just tell them this is what you're doing.
Okay, he wants people that are almost near the top already, because what he's looking for is the biggest bang for the buck, right? And if they don't make it to work one day, they're going to be having a job the next day? Maybe 2 days? Yeah, okay. Maximizer doesn't, if somebody stops, they're saying, nope, you're gone. Because what they're looking for here is, I can see the going back to the baseball, right? They want to start with somebody in the minor leagues and take them on, or high college level and take them on, but they want him to take big steps because he's going to push for the maximum every time to get you to the top. faster. And he wants them to be at the top with them. So those two are a little different, but that's how but they both have a lot of the same threads, and that's the other thing. There's like 700 and some odd talent threads, and then they've been into these different talent themes. And so some talents some parts of them overlap. So like in this one, these two talent themes both see the potential in people. They both see that they can help them. They both, when your guy or gal does perform, how do you feel?
Good.
Yeah. You get same high.
So what I'm hearing is that developer will take either anyone, or is it more, they don't have to have the band, they just want to see someone improve, not necessarily, I don't know. I guess I'm...
Yeah, good question.
Comparing maximizer with this, so I'm understanding.
Good question.
Does developer, like, maximizer only takes the top 10%, but developer will take anything from 0 to 100, or what?
How about it, developers? Do you want to be at the top 10% or top 20%?
No, I like starting from the ground.
They enjoy staying with the developer. Pardon?
Anyone, right?
Well, they don't like being, it's less likely that they would go with somebody in the top percentage and start from there. Is that true? They want to start with people that are lower with fewer skills to help them up to that level, and then they'll turn them over to the next group. Not all of them, but that's the general statement about that. That's a good question. Okay, so what does that need? So the developer needs opportunities to help people and organizations grow. Wonder how that might fit this group. Oh well, that's for you guys to figure out, but it might be on the final. Okay, so the developer also needs encouragement to work with people who are truly open to grow. So they really want to be open. These people that they work with have to be open and really want to do this. Developer also needs their own potential recognized, and they have a need to be encouraged to grow. So the people that are developing, they actually need those opportunities to develop themselves and grow themselves. And they have the need to have opportunities to grow their own potential. Does that make sense? So they actually need to always be part of that. And did I miss anything? Developers? Okay, let's do harmony. That's the next one. It's got 7 people in here. Who has harmony? Okay. So, with harmony, do all of you like confrontation? Do you like confrontation?
Not necessarily, but I will do it.
Okay. So, this is where it's misunderstood. We're going through why it's misunderstood. A lot of times people think that's peace at any price, talent theme. I'm just going to do whatever it takes so I don't have to have conflict. You'd prefer not to have conflict, or do you like conflict?
She also has competition.
It'll make a difference, yeah. But basically, it's going to be the same thing. So with that, then, okay, so you've found, okay, here's our, I call this the ambassador talent theme. So they are looking for places of common ground. What can we all agree with? Okay, we can agree that, black is white or black is gray or whatever. That's not a big deal because it's not an important deal. But at a certain point in time, if there's a real important issue, an issue that's important to you, do you then stop being so accommodating and you start to say, wait a minute, this is really important, we got to talk about this. Is that All of you? So it's going to be faster maybe for competition being part of the group, but what this talent theme has is, okay, let's bring everybody together. This is great. We can all agree to this. I don't have to have that answer, but this is really important. But when it's this, and it is really important, harmony is still it's still taking those steps. Let's try to do this together. Let's try to work together. But they're not going to give up on this. It's like pack a couple of sack lunches, and we're sitting here till we get the right answer done. Is that true? 7 people should be saying yes or no. No, does this make sense?
Yeah.
To the harmony people? Is that what's going on? See, and I know a lot of different people that have harmony, and and I used to think this too, is like, wow, they just don't want their peace at any price. They'll give up anything as long as they don't have conflict. But if there's something that's very important, like a core value, harmony starts really coming up, and then we'll talk about belief next. But what it's doing is, it's starting to look exactly like belief. This is really important. And with our harmony skills, we're going to stay here till we get it resolved. Anything else, harmony people, that I missed?
You need a lot of antacid.
Did you hear that?
What did you say?
He needs a lot of what'd you call it?
Antacid.
Antacid. He needs the antacid all the time. Knowing you, I can see that. That's so true. So with that, then, okay, this is what harmony needs. Opportunities to find common ground and shared values. Shared values is very important for harmony. Harmony needs to confront unhealthy conflicts. So conflicts is one thing, but that unhealthy, they've got to confront it. They need to be on a team that has shared vision. Very important for harmony. They need to be on a team that has a shared vision. And then that shared vision actually becomes one of those core value type of things that they won't budge on. This is why I'm on this team. This is why we do what we do. You're not going to talk me out of it.
What was the second one to confront what?
Unhealthy conflicts. Okay, then the belief, there's 5 people that have belief in this group. So who are the belief people? Okay. So, and do you have core beliefs? Core values? Yes? Yes? I always tell people that I don't tell everybody has core beliefs about something. Right? So write them down so you really know what you believe. But if you've got the talent theme of belief, you have to write it down. Because if you don't, it's going to be just a little fuzzy. You need to know what your core values are, because what starts to happen with this talent theme, if something that's a core value to you gets bumped, how is your reaction time? Milliseconds or a couple of hours? Milliseconds. Why? Because it's wrong. Exactly. Were you saying that for yourself?
Well, it's my number 10, but
Yeah.
it's in his top 5.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about. So, okay, here's Mr. and Miss belief, here's core values, we don't give them up, ever. Well, I'll ask this question. If you get enough information, belief, that shows that what you thought was a core value is all of a sudden doesn't have the value you thought it had, will you change?
It takes a bit to get there.
It takes a lot to get there. But that's where it's misunderstood as being bullheaded, because you'll never change your mind. Well, they will, but you got to prove it. Because it's core value. I believe that Hitler had this as a talent theme. Because everything he did was focused to complete his core value, right? So you that have your core values, will you do whatever it takes to make sure that core value is fulfilled? And doesn't matter if you'll lose your life at it. As long as it's being fulfilled, you're willing to go for it. True? That's belief. Boom. So this talent theme is always pretty strong, and it's one of two that I think is a filter talent theme. It doesn't matter if it's number 1 or number 10. If it's a signature talent theme, before anything else gets going, if you could slow everything down and then pull it all apart and saying, what's happening here? Belief would be first out. Do you do any jobs or organizations that are against your core beliefs? How about relationship with people? If they don't follow your core beliefs, will you be close friends with them? Yes? Okay, you've got empathy. Yeah, okay. That's why. But then even with your empathy, what are you trying to do? Exactly. You're taking them over to your beliefs. Right? So it's first for everything. So it's a filter. That's why it's so strong. That's why I'm calling it strong. It's because everything goes through it and it filters out what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, where you work, where you don't work, people you hang out with, people you love, people you marry. So it's right there. But what does it do for a group? You always know what your course is, right? Okay, this is what we're doing. The belief, okay, this is our core values. We're going out on this trip. So when things get really muddied up, when you're in some other country and the enemy's kicking you around and you don't really know why we're having such a bad day, why are we really here, blah, blah, blah. The first person to stand up is belief saying, this is why we're here, get back on the track. I mean, if you haven't been in that circumstance, it's hard to imagine that, but I've had them on several trips where they were so quote unquote insignificant, but it was shifting the thought of the whole team because of one small little thing. And we had to just say, okay, sit down together, let's have a talk. This is our core value, this is our purpose for being here. Why are we over here? If you can show us why we're over here, we'll take a look at it. Teeny tiny little thing had us all off on a whack one time. Belief stepped in and said, hey, here's where we're going. So that's what it really brings, that stability, that purpose, that solid. So if you're on a team and you don't have belief, and you say, well, maybe this and maybe that, then the belief says, no, why? Do you see how that starts working? Oh, okay, yeah, if you can do it, if you see it, I see it, I'm going with you. I've seen that happen multiple times. Okay, so belief people, anything else on that one? Really, really strong. In the basement? It can be pretty in your face. True? Or internally, it's giving you a lot of angst and anxiety because you know that something's wrong. So what that's really doing, that the belief here's what one of its needs and motivations, really. It's you need a cause or purpose to live for. Without a cause or purpose, you're floating around. That's why it's important. What are my core values? Particularly for people with this talent theme. Belief needs the freedom to live your cause or purpose. It needs their work to align with their purpose. See how what I was just talking about? Everything's for the purpose. And it needs to be in an environment of trust and integrity. Belief is also bringing trust and integrity to everything that they do. Questions on belief? And then, okay, one other thing. So, my son has belief competition in 1-2. When he was a teenager, things were really black and white, and he was going to win no matter what. Whoa, wish we understood this when he was a teenager. We had a lot of bumps and banks, and we look back on it, and he would say the same thing as I've taken him through the strengths. Yeah, that kid's out of control even today, but he's old enough now, he's grown and he's matured, he can keep that under control. So then he just goes plays a lot more basketball to get all that out. So that's one of the ways. Oh, this is something for everybody on everything. Replenishment cycle. Everybody needs to have a replenishment cycle. And what the replenishment cycle does is it helps you find those places that you can rejuvenate yourself. So in the spiritual area of life, what do you do? How do you do it? The physical area of life, what do you do and how do you do it? The friends, communication or camaraderie, where do you do it? How do you do it? Family. You know, in each one of these areas of your life, and everybody, guess what? Will do it differently. I love at the end of a day when I've fought all day and literally the front of my head is hurting. It's like I need to go home and I need to take 35 or 40 minutes in front of the TV with cold frozen yogurt and not say anything to anybody. And my gosh, it sure feels good. Sometimes I have 2 bowls, but trying to stop that.
That's okay.
Yeah, thanks. But everybody has their own way to do it, and there's certain ways to do it. Some is reading a book, some is running on a street. I mean, whatever it is, okay? Just that's for everything. Okay. I'll speed up here a little bit. Okay, achievers. There's 5 achievers, so that's the next highest one here. Who are the achievers? Okay, so do you actually have lists of things that you want to do every day?
Yeah.
Okay. If it's not on a written list, is it in a mental list? Or a computer list? And when
Excel.
or Excel, yeah. Yeah. And when you get that done, how do you feel? So good? Yeah. What if you have to leave the office or the workplace and you didn't get everything done? How do you feel?
Devastated. I've learned to get over it.
Good, because it's hard to get over, isn't it? Because what's happening here with this talent theme is like, okay, it's getting it done is the most important thing.
It'll consume the rest of my evening or whatever I go into next, whether it's family time or whatever.
If it's not done. Yep. That's the worst day I can ever have, is leaving things on my desk. But I've, over time, got over that somehow, or more or less. So, but what it's really good, do you like to work hard? Do you like to work hard with people who work hard? Do you like to work a little harder than the people you're working hard with?
Yes. Nailed it.
So this one starts to look a lot like what? Competition. And it's not competition, it's just your achiever. Because it wants to get stuff done. This is the talent theme that shows up the most often in the top 5 of all the everybody's taking these assessments. I have a theory. I'm not sure if Gallup, I'm pretty sure they would agree, but I haven't asked them. It's easier that way to give up my theory. So I believe compared to command, there's very few, that's in the bottom 5 most often in the top 5. Does that make sense? So there's very few command in comparison to everybody else, but this is the number 1. So, okay, ideation, there's not as many ideations. Wonder why? Well, you'll only need so many people giving ideas and telling you what to do, but you need a whole lot of sergeants and corporals and to get down there and get the job done. And those of you that have Achiever, do you just kind of get, okay, this is what I've got to get done, and I know how to get it done? So somebody says, here's our big picture. Yep, I know how to do that. Would you rather work by yourself or work with people?
Mostly by myself, yeah.
And if you're working with somebody else, do you need to be the one that's kind of calling the shots? Because you know what needs to be done and you don't want to waste any time. In the basement, this one starts to look pretty ugly, like belief can look ugly. So when you guys get really, really busy and you know that you're late and you want to get it done today, how do you feel?
Get overwhelming.
Do you ever, do people become more important or less important in the middle of those crises when you're trying to get everything done? Almost always this one goes into the basement with, okay, it's the only thing that's important is getting this done. Okay? So Chris, my son with competition, he and I were doing some post-hole digging. I think I've told this story here or someplace. Last year, yeah. It's such a good story. I'm going to do it again. So anyway, so he has this, we're doing post holes and he got the 2-man thing. It's a really great big thing. We both thought that, I think it was 12 or 15 posts were going to take us about 4 hours. And after 3 hours, we had done 2. Now my Achiever was really, really pumping, and his competition was really, really pumping. And so then we figured out, or we hit a softer piece of dirt or something, and oh, wow. So we both, yeah, let's do another one. Oh, wow, let's do another one. And then I said, oh, wow, let's do another one. And Chris said, oh, man, you know, we haven't had any food. It's hot out here. We haven't been drinking. I think we ought to go to lunch. Well, I knew I had him because he's got competition, right? He's not going to let his old man do something he's not going to do, right? The last time I ever played 21 with him for keeps, he was a senior in high school, and when I won it on a screwy shot, I said, I'm never playing for keeps again. And he's still after me to play. Okay? He's now 42. And so, all right. So then the thing that starts to happen is, okay, we can do this. So, and then I said, one more. Okay, I'm out of control at this point. It doesn't matter who we are, where we are, who this kid is, we're getting this done. Right? And then it's amplified by my, what? Focus. Everybody's out of here. And Chris said, Dad, you can do them all. I'm going to go have lunch. Do whatever you want to do. And I thought, uh-oh, I'm in the basement. That one goes, and they all go really fast in the basement. So this one got down in there really fast and really ugly. So achievers need the freedom to work at your own pace. And they need the opportunities to achieve consistently, daily and every day. Most achievers have a list in their mind every day, 24/7. Achiever needs life balance and integration. And it needs to periodically celebrate achievements. And most achievers say, no, I don't need that. But I challenge you, you don't need it necessarily from people, but sometimes you just need to take a moment for yourself and say, oh, that yard looks really good. Okay, I'm off to the hedge now. But if you don't do that, because that's an intrinsic need, you need that attaboy, then okay, it starts building up and then it goes to the basement because you haven't got it. Does that make sense? So if you're married or know somebody that's an achiever, if they get a little grumpy, and maybe it's because of that. Oh, that's a great job you did on the hedge. Oh, really? Thanks. Got to go do something else now. Bye. So that's something that some achievers don't get very easily. Okay. All right. Connectedness. Who has connectedness? Okay. So with connectedness, do you see the great big picture? I call this the 100,000 foot talent theme because you get way up high and you can see great big concepts. And if you have empathy, you're probably feeling the concepts. And if that sometimes starts to look like, that's kind of weird. You just feel what we need to do, and you just know that you know that you know. That's what I felt, so this is what we got to do. Does that happen with any of you that have empathy?
Yeah.
Now, the other form of that is the thinking, or some combination of that. It's like, I have this in my second five. And so what I see is great big circles of dots, literally, and I know which dots go with which dots, and that's our answer. Sometimes I can't tell you why, I just know this is going to work. Is that like? Connectedness also, do you see how different things and people connect together? Do you like to build bridges? Like putting those people together? A team that's going out, maybe they would like to build bridges. They know exactly, this is a concept. Don't know quite how to get it done, so then you need some people in the middle with strategic to help you, and then people in the achievers to get it done. See how those things start to come together? Okay, so with that talent theme, anything else that I've missed with connectedness? Okay, so connectedness.
I think with mine, I just think everything happens for a reason and everything has purpose.
Oh, I forgot that one, yeah. Perfect. There's no coincidences absolutely no coincidences. Yeah, thanks. So what connectedness needs, it needs to be part of something bigger than themselves. A family, a team, an organization, a global community, the cosmos. So sometimes it starts to look like, ooh, how are you doing this? How are you getting this stuff? It's just that you know that you know that you know sometimes. Needs opportunities to build bridges. That's very important. Need to be a part of a team with a shared vision. And it needs to function in interdependence with others. Okay. Positivity, I've talked about that a little bit. So the positivity people, you are always happy, right? Really? You always act like it?
Before you move on, do you know what happens in the basement with connectedness?
Things start getting, they're there and people don't listen to them. So then it kind of puts them out of whack and they go down. You're misunderstood because so I have that, but I have all this thinking stuff that's going on in me. If I didn't have the connectedness, then I would look at somebody that had connectedness and I'd say, wow, where are you getting that? What'd you smoke? What'd you drink? Because sometimes it just doesn't make any sense. You just know that you know. Like the day that I became saved, I just knew that I knew that I knew. Boom. Probably had, I don't know, just had that thought. Maybe that's part of why I did what I did.
Can connectedness people like be lonely at times? Or no?
Well, I think all people can be lonely at times, but because you are kind of so conceptual, and I've probably even talked today too conceptual because Linda's always telling me I'm doing that. So my mind gets so far ahead of my mouth that they kind of overwhelm each other. But that great big picture is so hard to connect sometimes with people or explain to people, and then you're kind of misunderstood because I don't get it. So there must be something wrong with me. So we start to think that. And you do. You're misunderstood because it's a concept.
I was just thinking too, like if you're wanting to build bridges, if you run into people who are kind of unwilling to do that, that could be really like hard to deal with.
Yeah, and so then you just start closing down, think there's something wrong with me.
What do you mean by building bridges? What is that like?
Who has connectedness that can tell her?
So basically, like, you want to connect, like, build bridges, you want to connect, like, people with people, you want to connect, like, all the dots together to create that bigger purpose that you believe, that you know what's right.
John, did you have something?
I was just saying, the simplest way for me to explain it is that you just want to see people connect that should be connected, that should know each other, should be able to interact with people. That's the way it manifests most often to me. There are some more conceptual things that I have a hard time communicating, and John was talking about sometimes you have the thought, you understand how things work together, but you can't really communicate it very well. But the easiest way, I think, to understand it is just the idea of trying to bring people that would complement each other, that would work well together, bring them together.
Or just anything that would like be closed doors, or where people will be blocking, what's going on, or blocked from each other. Like you don't want to see that. You want to see them, building the bridge and walking across it to each other, not like shut off. And
I see this one a lot with the church planters. Just, I know Jesus. I know that we're connected. I'm going to this country. Start showing up a lot. In the Antioch movement, lots and lots and lots of this. But I think it's not limited just to this movement. That's what the building of that bridge. It could be other types of bridge, companies coming together, or people, but I see a lot of this in church planters. Okay, we did talk about positivity quite a bit. Did I malign anybody? Please forgive me if I... So have we everything in positivity that we need not to talk about, or you want to talk about something?
What are the needs of that one?
Oh yeah, I guess I could do that. See, my conception is way ahead of me here.
I don't understand that talent very well, so if you want to explain that would be...
Positivity, yeah, I would be a great... Actually, I am a great expert at it because I've had to do a lot of research on this.
I think negativity is my second fight.
Well, I know that the skepticism is in my number one level. I just like, and then it's amplified by my job. So positivity, it needs to have fun. And it needs to be in a positive environment. If that's in a negative environment, positive people, you probably won't stay very long, will you?
No.
You'll find the door and get out. Yeah. It needs the freedom to. It needs the freedom from overcritical, whiny, and negative people. They don't like those whiners, or critical or negative. And they need frequent appreciation and encouragement. So their need for encouragement is more like being a cheerleader for them. Rah, you did great, you did great, you did great. Because if positive people, if you get those, you did it great, is that encouraging?
Yes.
So, pardon?
Like if someone tells me like I did good because I tell people I don't look for affirmation, but secretly like I'm like trucking them like actually I do, that's like a big deal. But like when you're not asking for it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But what if you are asking for it, it's still good to get, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. But if they didn't do it, oh, that's even better because, they must really like me.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So so those of us that John and I and others have, it's like, walking into my office, and I need to get better at this. The two gals that sit at the front are they share, the receptionist, they're sharing the job, so one's there 3 days a week and one's there 2 days a week. And they both have positivity. Wow, do the people, our clients at our law firm, they love our receptionists. That really makes the whole firm look really good right from the beginning. So I need to make sure, good job. Thanks for doing this today. It's nice the way you treated that customer or that client. So they need a lot of it all the time. Does that make sense? Is that true?
I don't want to sound needy though. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, you are.
Yes, no.
In a good way. In a good way. No, I know, and so
Sounds bad.
I know. So the misunderstanding piece is that just sounds bad, like I'm just wanting more and being needy, but that talent theme is made it. And here's what I think is going on. That talent theme is giving out so much positive all the time, because when those people walk into the room, usually everything kind of comes up a level. I never understood this until I started doing strength coaching. I always knew those people when they came in. I always liked that they were there. I was always sad when they weren't there. There's always somebody, okay? But when they're not there, what a dud of a party, or what a dud of a place. Or, whoa, they're here. So my granddaughter, who has those two, when she was in high school, we were taking her to a party, and I said, Zoe, I'm sorry we're going to get you there late, because my responsibility was really kicking itself as for getting it late, because it was me. Everything's my fault, right? And so she said, don't worry about it, Pops. The party's not going to happen until I get there. So she's very self-aware of what was going on. She knew that until she got there, they weren't going to have any fun. But she needs a lot of positive reinforcement, because that's exactly what she was giving out.
And you can't give away what you don't have, that's why.
Right. Exactly right. So this is a talent theme that really is giving out a lot, and you're just naturally doing it and glad to do it and happy to do it. But you can go in the basement fast because it's just not getting positive reinforcement. Okay, I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to put you in a team, because I think this one is also responsibility. Who has, a couple of people have responsibility? Okay. So with that talent theme, I think it's important for everybody to hear about, because this is the other talent theme that I call it's a grid or a filter. So this talent theme is how to say this succinctly here. So this talent theme their word is their bond. If you're asked to do something, will you get it done? To the death. And if you did miss it, how do you feel? Dead. Want to jump off a cliff. Literally, that's what they're thinking. Just give up my job because I'm no good. And it goes about that fast into the basement, because it's all about fulfilling that assignment. The thing about this talent theme that everybody needs to understand, it's really good about that integrity type of thing, getting things done. They don't like to delegate. Because, why do you think?
Might not get done the right way.
That's right. Or it might not get done at all, and then whose fault is that? It's theirs, absolutely. And so then they'll never give that person anything back. Well, maybe never, but it's going to take a long, long time because it's a trust-building talent theme as well. It brings lots of trust. So they don't work places that don't have similar values. They don't hang out with people. They're slow to make friends for that test reason, or test. Trust. I knew it was a T word. Yeah, thanks. See, my mind is already down so much farther. Wish it would come back. So anyway, and so that's what's happening there. So the other piece of this one is if I ask Nate to mow my yard, and Nate goes out and mows the yard, then Linda says to Nate, "Oh, how does that yard looks good?" And I never say anything to Nate. How do you think Nate feels? Well, how do you feel, John, if I wouldn't do that? I should have had you be the person. So I asked you to do the yard. You did it. Linda said great, and I don't say anything.
Doesn't bother me.
Really?
Because it doesn't.
Okay. Who else has it? Most responsibility people say this first time around too. Okay. So here's what's going on.
It's my job. I just did it, even though I'm supposed to say it.
Say that again.
If I committed to do it, I do it. It doesn't need thanks if I've decided to do it.
Okay. It does need thanks. This talent theme needs positive reinforcement, but it's a different kind. What it is a positive reinforcement from the person that asked them to do the job. Because this is not just an agreement. This is a blood covenant to people with responsibility. It's like the Lone Ranger and Tonto, and they're going to cut their wrists and have blood brothers, right? We are doing this. I'm never going to let you down, okay? But so the positive reinforcement is needed not from other people, but it's for us, from the person, because of this commitment. It's also a talent theme that is relational. It's very relational talent, so that when it takes that, it's like, okay, not only I'm going to do it for integrity, but it's like I've got this huge person. Now it becomes personal. That's another way to say that. It becomes personal. And if you don't get that reinforcement, you either start boxing yourself off, or you just start over critical. Because this talent theme also, do you find yourself, after you've done a project, you look at it and I could have done this better, could have done that better. And if your boss didn't like it, just come and tell me, you'd fix it. But if he comes and tells you that was a great job, how does that feel?
Well, I like it, but I don't expect it.
Okay.
I figure if I don't get feedback, then it was
Okay.
good.
And so that isn't saying you don't need it. What it's saying is this is what has happened to all of your work life, and you've just, okay, I just don't get it. It's not necessary. But deep down, we like to have that. So real life story, and then we'll jump over. I had a trial downtown. My client came, and his 3 bosses came. And I knew what they were doing. They were watching. They were seeing if I was doing what they wanted me to do. So, did the trial. Walk out in the hall. They said, let us know when the judge decides, and then walk away. I get in my car and start thinking, okay, what could I have done? Oh, I could have done this. Oh, I could have done that. Oh, I bet they saw me do that. Oh, that, da, 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 da. And by the time I got to my office, which is Regency, I was ready to resign from the firm because they were going to fire me. And at that point, I thought, I think I just fell into the basement. Maybe I ought to stop something. And the only way I got out of that day was to sit, put my head on the desk, close my door, and just pray against the enemy and myself, because I needed to take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. But I just was hammering myself because I knew of some mistakes that I really did make in that presentation. They weren't enough to change the outcome. We still won the case, but it was I knew that and if they knew that, but had they just said, oh, that was good, that's all I need. So I just encourage you, John, that if somebody does say that, really envelop it. But I hear that all the time, because in business, and most people don't do that. They don't come back and say good job, especially in the workplace. And then we say, oh, we don't need that. Which isn't what, John still needs it. He's just decided it's not going to get it, so he's not going to let it bother him. That's the way I would. He'll think about it and come back and talk to me. Because he is a deliberator. He has to think about it. They always have to think. So give him time to think, and then he'll call me in. Okay. Well, I want to get into a group. Have you guys get into a group. So any other quick questions? So if you ask John to do something, then just say, oh, good job, after he's done it. Or don't say anything, and he's already decided nobody's going to, he's he's thinking ahead and already deciding for himself.
You did a good job, too.
Oh, thanks.
Presenting it to us.
Yeah, thanks. The first person that ever has said that.
Really? What
No.
the world, John? Okay.
I just wanted more. No.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I've got, I don't know which way to do this. Let's do it this way. Okay, so I've got a little handout. So we want to get in groups of 3. I think that works out pretty close to. And so I've got a little chart here, and what this is, it's going to talk about your top 5 talent themes. And so you're going to start exploring the possibility of the theme and the combinations, okay? And so there's 5 little questions there. You'll have to take a few minutes and write those down, and then you're going to get in your groups and then explain, okay, we'll just take 2 of your talents, okay? So pick the talent you think is the strongest of your top 5, and the talent you think is the weakest, not as developed. Does that make sense? And just talk and answer these questions in general. Answer the questions, and then in general, you're going to explain to one another, my number 1 talent theme is achiever. This is how I see it playing out in my life. My weakest one is focus, because this, and this. So that you each get a chance of hearing that. And then these other questions talk about how those 2 talent themes come together. Does that make sense? Well, you will when you see them. So probably spread out to other rooms. Is that okay?
Yep.
And let's hand out the papers.
So we don't use the number 1 and number 5. We decide.
Whichever one you think is the most developed and the least developed.
I think I have to. Did you talk about like individualization or strategic?
No, not yet. While everybody's passing that out, do you want me to go really fast on those?
That's okay. I feel like those are 2 that
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like I get and other times I don't.
So individualization, people with individualization, do you just know that everybody's really, really, really different? And you already know that everybody's one of a kind.
Right.
And with that then, that individualization, I love to get presents from those people, because you're going to get a great present, because you can't just walk in and get the first thing off of the table, because you know what's special about this person already, and they need to be in that specific spot, the specific job, the specific whatever. And you'll continue to always kind of come back to that, saying, oh yeah, this is a better place, this is a better place, but you know these people have a unique place. That's the bigger picture, the big picture. And what was the other one?
Strategic.
Strategic, okay, strategic, you see the goal, It's kind of the opposite of deliberative. So the strategic people see the goal of where you're going to go, and then you gather some information, and you say, okay, it's time to get started, and then you get started. And if you like to make mid-course corrections, and you'll make the corrections before you get to the top, and then you'll be there. And it's the most strategic way, most quick way, the most efficient way, etc. Deliberative has the same goal, and he or she will then stop and start doing research, just like strategic does, except they don't get started until they've figured out there's every possible thing that could go wrong, and then we get started. Strategic drives, or deliberative drives strategic crazy, because strategic has said we got to do this on the fly. That's how you do it, because we've got enough, we've got to get going. And then deliberative is saying, no, we want to get there without any problems, so we're going to look for all the problems first, and then we'll get started. So they need more time.
So is restorative just fixing problems?
Fixing problems, yeah, it's definitely. It sees the problem. It's kind of similar. It sees the problem, but you need to fix it. You need to fix it now. And it's really good at seeing those different things. It usually sees them before most people see them, so they're misunderstood. And then you're saying, well, I know how to fix this. And people are saying, we don't have anything broken. And then it gets frustrating, and when it goes in the basement, then it starts getting really, oh yeah, just do this, just do this. Because you know it's the right thing to do. And it would help them.
How about input?
You like to gather things? Do you like to gather, reading books? Information. Do you save those books and information after you've done some?
A lot of books.
Okay. Yes, I was going to say, you save them someplace. So your brain, your computer, your bookshelf. And then if somebody comes in and says, oh, by the way, I was looking about this, does that encourage you to give that out to them? Actually energizes you?
Yeah.
And then you've got lots of information to use, because the input is gathering all this information. And that's how you make most of your decisions coming out of that.
All those ideas.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're feeding all those ideas, for sure. Because then you got the information. Idea, let me go research it.
Futuristic is just looking to the future.
Futuristic, yeah, is looking to the future. So futuristic is looking at the future. How far in the future do you look?
Well, when we're on vacation,
I've
he
got a
plans the next
budget like
vacation.
out 3 years.
Okay. There you go. So futuristic is always looking forward. Adaptability. I don't know if anybody has adaptability. Okay. Adaptability is in the moment, and context is in the past. Context is looking in the past. How did we do what's going on in the past so that we don't make those mistakes in the present? Futuristic is, here's where we're going. It's let's just go out there and brainstorm. Adaptability, I think this one gets a bad rap, because I think some people do think adaptability is squirrel, 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 squirrel. Because they're in the now. They're in the present. And usually that present is just a few days or a few weeks circle. And they
Talk and adaptability, phew, you're gone.
But what it's really good at is adaptability. Then it doesn't get bumped very often.
No, it's amazing.
Yeah, they can go with the flow. It doesn't matter. So on a team, so when you're on a team out in the middle of whatever country or place you go, oh, we have this great plan for the day, and then in the first 5 minutes everything falls apart. Adaptability can step up and say, hey, that's okay, let's go do this. And the structured people go, slacker, or used to say. Yeah.
I just said significance. I have that one.
Oh, significance, yeah. Sorry. No. It's misunderstood totally, or not totally, but a lot of times. So with significance, do you like to be part of something really significant?
Yeah.
And do you want to make sure that that significant thing has a significant goal? And do you like to be known for one of the people that's significantly involved in this significant thing you're doing? So you're misunderstood as being, here I am, you lucky people. That's a misunderstanding. And what's really going on there has nothing to, I mean, in the basement, then it is, here I am, you lucky people. But the way that it's functioning is, you're going to make this significant thing, make sure that it gets done, and it's going to be excellent. And you want to be part of the decision making. You don't have to be the number one, but you want to be on the hub of the decision making group of people. And then if it's, you'd prefer people knew that you were up there doing that. But you don't, living up above in the balcony, it's not, here I am, come, come, come. It's like, I just need the recognition for a job well done, because this is really a big job. I wouldn't have been involved with it if it wasn't significant.
And then I like to win.
Well, then you have competition, and so it is. If you come in second, that's first loser, right?
That's very true, good point.
And so, yeah, so your competition then, you like to win, so you'll do everything you can to win, and that one can go in the basement really fast. And so you got to be aware of that one, because it'll take everything with it when it goes down. But it's great because competition comes along and it looks like the game isn't, we can't win this game, and the really strong competition people say, yeah, we can do that. Okay, then I'll come help you. And then it gets done. So, I mean, that's how it's misunderstood too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, let's do our exercise, and then I can hang around and talk to people. We'll go out into the rooms.
Just choose the people?
Choose your people, as long as it's not husband and wife.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you had a particular way.
Do you have any input you want to hear?
Oh, if you.